Hey there, beautiful people. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you guys out there that are dealing with the layoff things and especially HUD employees right now, this particular video, if you know anybody that is going through the back and forth of getting laid off and then possibly getting called back to work, this video is for you. If you are coming in, go ahead and like the video, share. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And we are going to jump right into this topic. Okay, guys, stay tuned. Hey there, awesome folks. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally. I am the author of the book From Clueless Teenager to Consummate Professional, 7 Steps to Getting the Career and Life You Want, and also the new creator of the course or the workshop, Overcoming Layoff Workshop. This is part of why I want to make sure that you guys know it is available, because for the folks that are in HUD, a lot of the federal employees that are getting layoffs right now, even not just in the federal and public sector, but in the private sector, I want to make sure that you guys know that you have resources available here to help you. Now, I want to touch on the first thing we need to address here, because there's back and forth. There's there's different things going on, and there's discussions happening all over the place. One of them being, yes, they laid off quite a few people. Initially, the last video that I did with my my good friend Ashley over at mycreditcall.com, or better yet, Ashley, the credit solutionist, they were talking about the fact that they're scheduled to let go at least half of the workforce at HUD. So now continuing conversations is going to bring us to what it says here in Business Insider. This article is written by Matthew Lowe. It says a second judge ruled to temporarily reinstate federal workers, this time across 18 departments and agencies. You see a lot of protests happening with, people protesting against DOGE and things of that nature. So let's touch on this. This was a couple weeks ago, but I want to make sure that you guys stay on top of what's going on out there and how you can combat that if you are or you know anybody fitting into any of these categories. A federal judge has ruled that fired workers in 18 government agencies must be reoffered their jobs on Monday. Now, they're not going to scream that from the rooftops, but you also have to keep in mind that they're being reoffered their jobs, but that doesn't mean it's going to be forever. So you want to make sure you have a plan B, which we'll touch on later on. That includes USAID, CSBP, and Departments of Veteran Affairs and Education. The ruling temporarily lasts, but only 2 weeks from now, which should be happening as we speak. We're in April already. This is April. This is April already, so the beginning of April. A federal judge ruled on Thursday that probationary employees in 18 agencies fired by the Trump administration must be reinstated for at least 2 weeks. Senior U.S. District Judge James Badir is now the second federal judge to rule against the mass layoffs after U.S. District Judge William Alsup made a similar decision earlier on Thursday in a separate lawsuit. In an earlier case, Alsup has ordered from San Francisco that the Trump administration has to reoffer jobs to thousands of fired workers across 6 cabinet departments. Badir's new temporary restraining order from Maryland District Court goes even wider. His rulings target 12 departments, including Departments of Agriculture, Education, Veterans Affairs, Health and Human Services, Transportation, State and Homeland Security. It did not cover the Defense Department, though Alsup ruling did. Additionally, Badir ordered reinstatement at 6 other agencies, including U.S. Agency for International Development and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, both of which have been under immense pressure from the White House. Badir and Alsop didn't buy into Trump's administration stating the reason for the firing employees without notice, that the workers' individual performance or conduct wasn't good enough, which we know that now that a lot of those employees have come forward in the press or on the web stating that they had stellar performances before that, and now they're being told that it's not good enough, which I think is erroneous. You haven't spent enough time with the employees to make that assessment. Here, the terminated probationary employees were plainly not terminated for a cause, Badir wrote in his memo. Exactly. The sheer number of employees that were terminated in a matter of days belies any argument that these terminations were due to employees' individual unsatisfactory performance or conduct, he added. Many of these cuts were made under recommendations of the White House DOGE office, which has spearheaded President Trump's effort to reduce the federal workforce. Reinstating jobs will be tough but appropriate, the judge says. Badir, a Obama appointee, wrote that 18 departments and agencies he named must reinstate their employees by Monday, March 17th. Now, I'm going to almost assume that that's not happening, or if it's happening, it's happening at a snail's pace, because I haven't heard anything about that on the news. That requires some further research, because I want to do a follow-up video on that. Underlying his ruling, the terminations are to be suspended for 14 days. I only get to go back for 2 weeks. Badir added that he knew this would likely be a mammoth effort when, as is likely the case here, the government has engaged in an illegal scheme spanning broad swaths of federal workforce. It is inevitable that the remediation of that scheme will itself be a significant task, he wrote. His ruling came as part of the lawsuit filed by a combined 20 Democratic state attorney general against multiple branches of federal government over employees' terminations. Their legal challenge argues that the Trump administration ignored protocol, of course, and bypassed federal laws requiring employers to notify state governments when conducting mass layoffs. Employment laws. No consideration for that. That's not new for this administration. With their lawsuit proceeding, Badir wrote in his memo that the court would likely soon consider a longer-term decision regarding the return of probationary workers. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt blasted Alsop's ruling on Thursday. She can say whatever she wants. A single judge is attempting to unconstitutionally seize the power of hiring and firing from the executive branch. Yes, because the executive branch breached the law. But apparently, you guys don't care about that. She said in a statement, the president has the authority to exercise the power of the entire executive branch. Singular district court judges cannot abuse the power of the entire judiciary to thwart the president's agenda. But the president cannot also breach federal employment laws either. But see, he's trying to do that. And then when they're being checked and being kept at accountability, all of a sudden they're speaking against it. If a federal district court judge would like executive powers, they can try and run for president themselves. President doesn't mean you don't have checks and balances in place, press secretary. You should learn that too. Thursday's ruling are amongst the first in a mounting series of high-profile legal challenges and orders seeking to regulate DOGE's sweeping moves, because a lot of what DOGE is doing is illegal, including a lot of these terminations. The agency has recently told multiple judges to comply with requests for information about its operations. As DOGE leads federal employee cuts, terminations in the U.S. government hit 172,000 plus in February, the highest monthly level since the COVID-19 pandemic triggered layoffs in 2020. Wow, that is a gross breach of power. I'm sorry. I just had to pretty much put that in perspective. Guys, I want to make sure you guys understand what's happening here. The president, in and of himself, made some decisions, terminated so many people, and did it unlawfully in a lot of ways. I want you to understand, guys, that this is not something that is supposed to be happening, at least not in this way. And because they're being challenged, there's going to be pushback on both sides. But if you are a HUD layoff employee, or you're an employee that is experiencing this and you feel like the yo-yo is never going to stop based on how this particular administration operates, be prepared, and I want to provide you with some key insights so you are not here pulling teeth. I don't want you guys to have to be dealing with a lot of this. I want you to be prepared in whatever decision they actually attempt to make. All right, so let's go ahead, and I want to share some things with you because I want you guys to not be back and forth and being, having the tug of war. That really what's happening right now. It's a tug of war of who has more power, who wants to see, who's, what's bigger, so to speak. Because a lot of what's going on is this. Okay, so you're a part of a government agency and they said, they have to let you back to work in a couple of weeks, but you're not sure what's going to happen. You want to be prepared in either case. If you're a HUD employee or working for any federal agencies and you've been watching the news, you already know things are shaky. The temporary reinstatement does not mean job security. As a matter of fact, I can almost guarantee, based on the fact that they want to, they're it's a power struggle right now. So, power moves. If you're laid off, you want to make sure that you are able to withstand and keep going and doing what you need to do to secure your economic future. Number one, start with auditing your finances, folks. Know exactly what's coming in, know exactly what's coming out, and what you can do to pause or cut things that are not important. If it's not covering you as far as shelter, if it's not keeping the lights on, keeping your water running in your house, or keeping the heat on, depending on, where you are in the country, you may still be experiencing cold weather, or if it's food on the table. You want to make sure that you keep your, build your survival budget for the next 90 days and stack your emergency fund as soon as possible if you have that opportunity. Number two, and as you're coming in, say hello, drop a like. We're running. I want to make sure that you have this information, and I do not want to hold up a lot of your time. So I want to make sure you get this information to be able to implement accordingly. Step two, file unemployment the minute you're eligible. Do not wait. The second layoff will be official. File. You paid into the system. Now it's time to use it to your benefit. Go get online or call to get that started. Now, step three, monetize your skills. You are working in the federal government or you are working with an employer. It doesn't have to be the public sector. It can be the private sector. You are working with an employer for a set period of time. You have value. If you've handled grants, policy, project management, compliance, there are people and businesses who will be paying for that knowledge. Start your freelancing now. Start networking now. You can start your consulting now. Start your side hustle now with information and knowledge base and the experience you already have. Let's not try to recreate the wheel, folks. Use what you got to get some money in your hands. Number four, rebrand for the private sector. Okay. If you're in the public sector right now, then your federal title might not mean much outside of those avenues, but your skills absolutely do. Please translate that resume into private sector language. Think impact, not just duties. When I say that, this is what I mean. Let's see here. This is what I mean. Translate from, let's see here. Okay. You want to make sure that you're speaking to, if you are processing grants and you are analyzing or evaluating, making sure you're communicating those skills in order for private sector employers to be attracted to the type of experience you have. These are things that I do work with you one-on-one. If you schedule a resume consultation with me at mentorshirley.com/resumes, where we can restructure your resume to be able to catch the attention of private sector employers, to make sure that you can use your experience to obtain new employment. And of course, step 5, tap into supportive resources from your local workforce boards to HUD affiliated nonprofits. There are grants, training programs, and support services that are available to you right now. Please do your research. Get on this computer like this beautiful lady on this picture here is doing to get the resource to grab some, to make sure those are working for you. Listen, guys, if you're feeling overwhelmed, I definitely want to be able to help in any way that I can. I do have a overcoming layoff workshop available at mentorshirley.com/layoff. As you see that lady with the beautiful smile, I'm working together with several clients already that have a seat in that workshop. We already had one live workshop going, and so far, and that live workshop is in the workshop. We're going to be having 2 more live classes. So I want to make sure you guys grab your seats while the seats are available. It's going to be up for a limited time. By the end of April, the class will be closed. So it's best to grab your seat now while it's available at mentorshirley.com/layoff, because I want to keep this class small so we can make sure we address everyone's concern that is in there so we can help them get to the next level or to the next phase in their economic life. And of course, if you want to work with me one-on-one, you don't want to be in a class setting or you don't want to be in a group setting, you want to work with me one-on-one, you can go to mentorshirley.com/consultations, where you can go and click on consultations and schedule your career/layoff revamp consultation so you can work with me one-on-one to put your specific layoff rejuvenation plan together. All right. I want you you don't have to just survive in a layoff, but you can thrive. So let's work together to make sure that you do. All right, guys. Of course, if you like the information here that you've gotten, go ahead and share it with people that that have been laid off in the public sector or in the private sector and is looking for ways to pivot. This is just one of the many ways, and I want to make sure you have what you need. This is Mentor Shelley, wanting to make sure that you become a better version of yourself professionally. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do so by subscribing and hitting a like on your way out. All right, guys, take care. You have a good one. Bye.